everybody. Welcome back. Current Cinema podcast back on your radio station. I don't know how podcasts work, but this is episode 14. My God, it's been such a long ride, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'd like to thank God. And, and I'm just...
Who? Who is that?
God. You don't know God.
God.
First name basis with God.
Yeah, sure.
I'm very grateful for it's the season of being grateful. So I'm very grateful for Kyle, my reliable co-host, to come here every episode.
I am grateful for you as well too.
And that's enough of that. Too corny. Certainly not. I can't extend more gratitude. I'm all gratituded out. I can't even express gratitude to our faithful listeners. Sorry, singular. I messed up.
Hi, listener.
Hey. Send me your address.
We do this for you, buddy.
I'll mail you like a sticker or something that I got from a friend. It's not even a sticker regarding the show.
I will not mail you anything. You're getting this episode, and you're welcome.
You're getting this episode. You know what? And for the holiday season, sort of, consider this a Christmas gift to our buddy Gaston, because we're going to talk about the main movie of the episode is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I almost forgot the subtitle, Mutant Mayhem. I almost said Out of the Shadows, and I was like, no, that's the horrible sequel to the live action, the Megan Fox live action one.
We don't talk about that one.
We don't. That doesn't exist. I think John Cena's in that one.
I've never seen any of those movies. I literally can't talk about them because I've never seen them. So
that's just because your willpower.
There's some people who I've seen over the years go like, actually, it's not that bad, and I go, shut up. Like I've never seen them, but I remember the temperature. We took it. Yeah. People hated it.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that they got. I think I've said this before. The thing that they got kind of right in those movies was the turtles acting like brothers and teenagers.
That's good.
But not as much as this movie.
I will accept that. Like there has to be some things they got right in those movies, right? I mean, they had to accidentally get something right. They made a second
one, which was not much better than the first one. They were on par with each other, very much so. Anyway, we're not going to talk about those because we're going to talk about the actual good, like a genuinely good, no asterisks, good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. No. Mutant Mayhem. This movie is like produced or written or whatever. They got their names on it. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who have helped adapt The Boys.
They're having a good run right now.
Yeah, Preacher, I think they did as well. They
remember like when they did Green Hornet. Like look how many wins they have now. You know what I mean? Like I know like everyone really picked apart Green Hornet. Like these guys are they should never touch anything ever again. And they've done nothing but great adaptations almost since then. So
totally, yeah, I agree. Yeah, like even though the Preacher wasn't completely 100% faithful, I still really liked. I really liked where it ended up going, and like. It was kind of like what Scott Pilgrim is doing currently on Netflix, where it's a little, the details are a little different. And they were fleshing out certain characters like the guy with the bald guy. I can't remember his name now because I've had some distance from that franchise. But
been some years,
whatever. Hair Star, I think that's his name. They gave him like a totally different, not totally different, but they just fleshed him out a little more because it's a TV show and you have to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there were some details like that I was like, oh, it's not 100% faithful to what we know. And that's kind of on par with, with what they did here. Not that I have any, I'm not like, it better be just like the comics or just like the show.
I know. Yeah. I don't think either of us are like that. So if you're coming here for that kind of take, sorry,
Yeah, exactly.
And, I'm a firm believer in whenever someone adapts something, they mean it by the definition of the word.
Right.
Adapt,
right.
Not
which
copy.
Means it's not 1-to-1. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a copy. So yeah. Call me old fashioned, Jeff, but I like to use words the way they're intended to.
Yeah, exactly. No, we can't do that anymore. Now words don't mean the same.
Now words can mean anything because words are fluid, Jeff.
Word fluidity. Non-binary words.
Non-binary words.
Pretty much that's what it is. But yeah, this is fantastic, man. This movie. I wish I saw it more recently. I should have made time to rewatch it before I reached out to record.
Yes,
like
I watched it more recent than you.
Yeah.
So we can help each other here, but
good. Yeah, I watched it I think I watched an early screening actually. I watched it like 2 weeks before it came out in the movie theater. Right. So that would have been like late July or something because it came out in August, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the time of this recording. That's like 4 months ago.
Yeah, hey, that's time, dude.
I still know my feelings on the movie. I still know I love it. But if you're gonna ask me like what's your favorite joke or quote of the movie, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Especially because there's so much
I'll tell you what
stuff.
my favorite joke is, and
Good.
I liked all the milking stuff. That was my favorite joke.
Oh
of the
my
movie.
God! Yes, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All the milking jokes where like Splinter like really put it in the heads of the turtles that like if they're topside and they get captured by humans, the humans will milk them. And the payoff of that joke is like it's tops, dude. Like it's one of the hardest I laughed all year, and I'm like, this is so dumb. And in this movie,
yeah, I know. In this movie, where like toddlers are going to the movie, because I was in that theater that I saw it at. It was completely sold out. It was like a it wasn't a free screening by any means. It was a regular screening, but it was just the fact that it was 2 weeks early and a fan event. And it was people my age that had kids, and they're bringing all their kids, and their kids were like, the kid I sat next to was like 3 or 4, and like so like those type of jokes that have a double entendre, like adults are like, this is so absurd, how did you put this in the movie? And kids are laughing because it's just silly, like it's just there's a silly tone to it. But they don't really get the extra connotations that could be associated with the term. But like, and
which going back and watching movies, which I've been doing a lot lately, I've noticed that like that's always been a thing where it's like I'm watching a movie as a kid and don't get half the jokes until I watch it 20 years later, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely always been a thing. But that joke, you're right. It's 100% like brilliant.
Well, and that one really goes for it. I mean, like
honestly,
that's almost not a double entendre. Like it is what it sounds like. Almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's a pretty overt adult. Like that joke is for you and me. You know what I mean? Like despite it being a kid centric. Yeah, I like that. I like that they snuck him in there.
And the fact that that logic came from Splinter, who was voiced by Jackie Chan, and he's saying it so seriously.
I can't believe they got Jackie Chan to talk about milking. They're going to milk you. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's something. I'll tell you. Yeah.
Splinter was quite funny too. Like
Splinter was great. Yeah, and
how outdated his viewpoints were. Basically,
I liked all the like. I don't know. Sometimes the origin story for Turtles can be a little like he went to a ninja academy. What
Yeah.
I like that. Like Splinter was just kind of a lab rat and like found paperwork or booklet or a video or something like that on how to be a ninja or something. And like that's where his training came from. He's a self-made. Yeah, like I like that twist on it. Like I watched.
Did he watch like TV or something and just
learn
it
something
from
like
shows?
that? It was something. Yeah. He would just kind of picked it up and kind of self-trained or whatever, and then
because what else are you gonna do as a rat in the sewer that can talk and
because they really play up that these are like actually mutate. Like the world's not like magical topside. You know what I mean? This is an anomaly that like these that these animals mutated into something.
It's all because that one shady doctor.
Yeah. They used the ooze. You saw the ooze and everything.
Yeah, it was obviously the ooze. Yeah. And it wasn't just the turtles that person ended up making. It also affected other creatures, and it turned out to be the whatever you want to call it, group of supervillains or whatever.
Which there were a lot. They snuck in a lot,
dude. So many, and many I'm not familiar with like at all.
Dude, Mondo Gecko. That's like That's such a deep. I like, and it was Ant-Man that played that, right? It was.
Yeah, it was Paul Rudd. Yeah. Oh God, he was so funny. Oh my God.
Yeah, anything Mondo Gecko was great in this. And like he's a deep cut. Like, well, I guess this is a good question. What's your relationship with the Turtles? You grew up watching the live action movies. Is that kind of like it?
The live action movies. I do remember watching some of the cartoons. I had like a toy set that was
toy guy. Toy guy.
I had the toy set that was the like a. The turtle base in the sewers, and it like opened up kind of like those Barbie playhouses used to do.
I had a similar one, but it was like a truck.
Gotcha.
Like, it was like it was their truck, HQ or whatever.
Yeah. So I had like toys. I think I had all of them, all 4 of them, and I don't know if I had Shredder or not. But I was only familiar with the mainstay characters, basically. Like,
so I was deep into like the alternative like turtle stuff. So a lot of the like Cowboy Raphael, lines, and there's like all different like themed kind of lines or whatever. I grew up a big Turtles fan. Never read any of the comic books or anything like that. So
me neither. And I also don't remember in the games. Like I played the Turtles in Time was the main one that I beat over and over again with my brother, but I don't remember like if there were characters that were from this movie, Mutant Mayhem, that were from the games or whatever. I don't remember any of that. Like, so,
yeah.
Aside from like a Bebop and Rocksteady, like, I mean, and they're in the movie, so that's great. I was like, hey, I know that.
Me a Bebop and Rocksteady,
yeah. Superfly, I vaguely remember from Turtles in Time, I think.
Superfly, I remember too. Yeah. And he's great in this too. I like Superfly.
Yeah, it's Ice Cube, and he's such a good, like, I don't know, he's just such a good, like, he's got a great voice for no nonsense kind of whatever characters. Same thing that he did in 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. Like,
yeah.
It's he's pretty much the same demeanor. Yeah. And also, I guess from their point of view, the humans are evil. So it's not 100% like their logic is totally flawed. I mean, it is. It's a little busted, obviously.
Yeah.
But where it's coming from is like, I get it. Like, I get it. You know, like, yeah, they became radicalized based on how they were treated by everybody. Whereas the Turtles, I don't know, it just happened differently for them. Probably because of how Splinter raised them with the anti-milking campaigns and stuff.
Yeah. You know, if I ever have kids, I'm going to make sure that they know to be feared of the milking. So
yeah,
it seems like a good device to teach kids.
Strangers are going to
strangers will milk you if they go out there.
Oh my god, that's such a great recurring bit. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about that.
I absolutely love that bit.
I love the I think I've had a couple friends say like the animation style hurt their eyes a little bit, and I actually kind of get it, but I still like it.
I have that problem. It was very across the Spider-Verse, into the Spider-Verse. You know, I don't even know. You could call it oil pastel-y, or that's not the right term, but like it's a specific type of animation. You know?
It's not straight up just regular Disney CG.
Yeah.
Animation. There's a hand-drawn element to it, and it even looks a little like crude in some parts, and how the colors blur together.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool and stylistic. Like it's its own style. It's like Spider-Verse, but not, you know.
And there's some hip hop inspired like music and tunes going on too. So it's like Spider-Verse in that way as well, you know.
It's got like a graffiti art style consistently, which makes sense because they're street level, you know. And
right.
I mean, they're going to be surrounded by all that stuff. But maybe even more so than Miles Morales was, because he actually did do street art. But they shift the animation style depending on the multiverse, whatever that they're in.
Yeah.
The universe in the multiverse, whatever. It's complicated, guys. Just go watch the movies. You'll know what I'm talking about. Those are great. Those are really great. But I really like the art style, and especially like in the third act when the action starts getting hot and heavy, and they're fighting like a giant thing. I'm trying not to spoil it, but they have to kind of team up with, which again, I did not expect this. I don't think this was proper lore from the show or the games or anything, where they start to team up with unlikely allies and stuff. I didn't expect that, but it was really cool to see, actually. And just like there's like big action scenes, and that's when I was the most wowed by the animation, really. It looks really good.
I thought the action sequences were really good. Like the way that they animated some of the stuff was super cool. And I did like how confident they got over the course of the movie, because like you're seeing them like year one. You know what I mean? Year one of going topside and like running errands for Splinter, and like they kind of slowly like integrate themselves into stopping crime, you know. And it's like
they're literally just doing grocery runs. Like I mean, that's all they're doing, and they're bickering.
They're teenagers, so they in their head they turn it into a big adventure, you know. Which again, that's the stuff that they nail about like, oh yeah, these are kids doing this, you know. Yeah. Whereas in the movies, when you're watching live action movies, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's obviously 40-year-olds inside of mechanic suits.
Yes.
You know,
Splinter,
like so,
and their mouth is doing like a weird thing.
And their eyebrows are, you know, so their brows rather. I guess they don't have eyebrows.
And you hear their eyes going. You don't hear that.
Yeah,
that'd be so funny. Kind of like when you go to Chuck E. Cheese and you hear the mechanics of the. Those are gone now, but when you hear the mechanics of them moving around, you're like,
they're all on the set of Friday Nights at Freddy's. That's where they are.
Pretty much. That's what it is. Yeah. They swear it's because of mechanical upkeep and they can't afford it, but I'm like, no, that's
I believe you. I believe it because it's also creepy, and that's why they got rid of them. But I believe it because like everything's always broken at Disney. You know, like when you go to Universal Studios, like the like most likely the T-Rex is broken on Jurassic Park. You know, because like mechanical monsters are expensive.
It's kind of like the McFlurry machine always being broken at McDonald's. You just got to rely on it to always be broken every time you go. Yeah. It's going to happen.
This proprietary mode being broken.
I also appreciated it's an all ages message, but it's pretty obvious. But the whole like, I don't know, the way that they approach the message of not being so like surface level and how you judge people and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Which is that's
there's a
still a thing people need to hear.
Yeah.
And it always will be, unfortunately.
Right.
But the way that they illustrated it, so like all ages can really understand it. I really appreciated that. And it moved me a little bit. Not like I wasn't like weeping in my chair or nothing, but I was like, I'm like I'm always going to say almost 40, even though I'm like not that much closer to 40. I'm not that close to 40.
Yeah.
but it's like,
I'm on the wrong side of 30. I'll tell you that.
Let me tell you, I'm on the wrong side of 30, and it got me feeling things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, same. I didn't expect it from a movie that's clearly trying to speak to a younger than a Pixar audience even.
Yeah, and I saw some asshole, and this is someone else saying this, not me, but like I saw someone say I didn't like the blackification of the property. Which I was like, first off, that's racist. Second off, I don't think it's overt at all. I think that there's obviously, there's some like inspirations there. Not unlike Spider-Verse and stuff like that, but like I don't think it was like a forced message or anything like that, or a forced insert or forced diversity or whatever people are crying about these days. So
no kidding.
Don't use that term, guys. That's crazy.
Awful. Yeah.
And you said it on the internet, so like everyone, everyone can see it forever. So
the exaggerated swagger, you guys.
Yes, it is. It very much,
Turtles.
Dude. It very much read like that. The exaggerated swagger of a black young man from the. What was it? The Polygon GameSpot? What was it?
One of those two.
It was GameSpot. I think.
Polygon, or GameSpot. You're right. It was GameSpot.
Miles Morales. Yeah. The review. Yeah.
That one they were trying to be
hip.
Yeah, they were trying to be hip in that review, and this one, that's a problem. What you're talking about is more problematic for sure. Way more problematic. And
if you're watching the trailers and you're seeing that, and like that's the vibe you're getting or whatever, I'm not saying that you're wrong for feeling that way. I'm just saying it's you're coming into it wrong. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that really exists in the way that like some people are saying that it does.
Yeah.
So,
if you're already coming into that with that in your head, then that's what you're going to see probably.
I would just stop watching movies if that's how you
just stop watching movies. Exactly. And please stop voicing your opinion on them too.
Right. You're just putting your foot in your mouth at this
point. There was like a scene where they're like tackling bases, enemy base. Now I'm starting to remember some of the movie.
Yeah.
Where they're tackling. There's like a montage of them taking down like mob people. And it's like set to it's like a famous song. It's a very famous song. I want to say it's Salt and Pepper, isn't it?
I don't remember. Yeah.
I don't know. It's something from the 90s, like a R&B song or whatever. But it's like it's a really funny thing too. And they do this thing where they're in the animation where they're like they're cutting to like a Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the turtles. Leonardo. I have DiCaprio in my head. Leonardo is in the middle of like a kick, for example, and it like in midair, it's like switching backgrounds, and it shows him like attacking somebody differently, somebody different in the next shot, and I love that type of animation trickery.
Me too.
Yeah, it's really pretty, and really funny too. There's even a reference to the Vanilla Ice song that made me laugh.
There is. Well,
never forget that song.
And all the in movie music was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, right?
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that detail. I think you're right.
Yeah. I'm pretty. So it's like you're getting some great stuff here.
Hey, stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to talk about another movie with a Trent Reznor Atticus Ross score.
I guess he was busy. He was busy this year. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been very busy. You are 100% on the money. That is a great call.
Yeah, that's why they pay me the big bucks, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm paying you so much money to be here right now. I'm
the only one making money from this endeavor.
Yes. Thought he had another movie recently, but I guess not. Television. No, it was just those two movies this year, but those were big deal movies. I mean, to the point where we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Unintentionally back to back episodes, but Yeah, that was great stuff. Very different for them too. I was like, I didn't know they could do upbeat. You know.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was very different for them. Yeah, it's not moody. Well, I mean, moody's maybe not like, it's not that it's not moody, but it's not moody in the way that we use it, where it's like gloomy and
like in
vibey,
The Killer, it's which we'll talk about, but like The Killer is like very much like almost like a metronome type of score where it's just building the tension over and over like a heartbeat, and it's just a slow burn, much like the movie, a slow burn of a score. Whereas this one is more like playful and stuff, and I just didn't know they had that. Vocabulary.
What range, Yeah.
That's awesome though that they're stepping outside their box even now.
I like that, like, because I grew up listening to Nine Inch Nails, so it's like watching him like transition, and Serge Tankian's doing a similar thing. Like that guy does a lot of movie composing, so not a lot of movies that we watch, but like he broke in some way. So it's just like I like watching my favorite rock stars that I grew up with become like esteemed orchestral, or not orchestral always, but composed music for movie type of guy,
Oh, he did that Madoff docu-series. That's so funny that he picked a random.
Who's that? Trent?
Serge.
Serge. Okay.
Serge Tankian. He did the Madoff, the Monster of Wall Street, which is it's a Netflix docu-series about Bernie Madoff.
Oh, okay.
Which is very good, but like it's such a random thing to agree to score. So it's like you're saying, it's stuff that he's like, this is a small movie. Let me do this one. He doesn't do the Trent Reznor thing of like attaching himself with David Fincher.
No. I mean, I mean, Trent Reznor did the fucking Facebook movie.
I know.
Doesn't get bigger than that.
Isn't that like how he started?
I thought so.
Then he won an Oscar.
Because I remember like walking away from that and I go, Trent Reznor kind of killed that track. Am I
right? Yeah. So good. I wish I had more to say and recall from the movie, because it is a movie that's going to make you want to watch it again and again, so you can learn to quote it.
It's one that if it's on a Black Friday sale, I'll pick up. I'd own this movie. I think it's a very cool movie. I think it's a very fun movie. I think for someone like me who grew up with TMNT, I don't have like the Star Wars in me where I'm like, they got this one wrong, and I can't believe that they did I don't have an attachment in that way. So it's like, if you want to come in and you want to change everything up and shift everything around, like I'm happy with that, Shredder's not in this movie, but like we have a cool thing for another day, if we get more of these. So,
and I think they already did greenlight a sequel and as well as a game based on this movie.
We're getting Foot Clans, we're getting all that that staple stuff that just wasn't in this movie, and I'm glad that this movie didn't lean on that stuff. It's like, me too. It's like making a really good Batman movie and not needing the Joker. Like it's cool when they're together, but if you can do it without the two of them, that's cool too. You know?
Exactly, totally.
So yeah, I really think this movie is super good. I think this movie really surprised me of how much I liked it. I thought I'd like it, but I guess I didn't know that I was going to like it.
I was in the same boat. I was kind of like, this is going to be a fun time, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being more than that, and that was a surprising part. For sure.
Yeah, big time. And the fact that it was like legitimately funny, like I was actually laughing at it, not like
I was like laugh out loud.
Sometimes there like things just get a chuckle, but like I was actually laughing out loud. So very jolly movie. I liked it quite a bit, and I hope they make a bunch of these. So
I was laughing so loud at the more adult geared jokes. Then it's not fully adult, obviously, but stuff that would make an adult laugh, and to the point where I'm like, this kid next to me has no idea why this is funny. Like,
they're like, Dad, why was that crazy person laughing next to me all movie? Like, because he didn't understand that you're laughing at real jokes.
Like, just wait, you'll appreciate the silliness. I also love one last thing I wanted to mention was I love that they voiced over much of the banter in the same voice booth. It really shows that these four kids were in the room together.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Talking to each other.
Yeah.
Instead of just recording it all separately and hoping that the chemistry works,
That's the better way to do it.
Yeah. I think that I don't know of another movie that maybe Encanto did it. I can't remember. Another movie did it recently, and I think Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg were like, yeah, we were just inspired by blah, blah, blah animated movie, and how they recorded a lot of their sessions with different characters in the same scene, in the same booth together, which is not common practice, especially when you have a big ensemble like this movie does. But they insisted on putting them in the same room together for those scenes where they're like bickering about how to approach getting groceries at the beginning of the movie. That's them all in the same vocal booth, just talking over each other.
That's cool. That's cool.
It totally plays in the movie.
It feels
natural. It was a smart way to do it. But yeah, I'm excited to see more, especially this movie in video game form, which I think they announced.
Oh, they did announce one. Okay, yeah. I would love that. Yeah, I would love that. Take that graphical style and just,
That'd be really impressive if they could pull that
off. That's
what
I've been really wanting. I love the way Spider-Man's going right now in the video game world, but like, give me an Across the Spider-Verse game, dude. With that visual style,
Yeah.
Like, who cares about photorealistic Peter Parker? Like, who gives a shit about that? Like,
I know.
Give me hyper stylized Miles Morales, please. Like,
yeah, I know. And they showed that they could. There's like an Easter egg in Spider-Man 2 where they showed that they could possibly make that animation, that art style work in video game format. Granted, it was like a cutscene thing, but still, I mean,
yeah.
And also the characters that they're from the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, there's the suits
the way
that
they move,
they
like
did good.
motion.
Yeah, they lower framed animations and stuff like that. Yeah, it's good stuff.
And they somehow make it work in a photorealistic world. You don't have to change the entire game to stop motion. It's just the character will suddenly become stop motion. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's black magic right there. That's what that is.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
But anyway, that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. That is out on Paramount Plus, I believe, if you have a subscription to that, which I do not anymore. These things are just getting too expensive for me. I have like 4 now instead of all of them.
Pal.
Yeah, cancel them all, pal. But this is a shorter episode. I hate to break it to everybody this far into the episode, but this is one of the shorter ones that we're doing, so we could do 2. Spoilers on us wearing the same clothes for the next week's episode.
No, it's actually going to change.
Oh, okay. I'm going to wear something different to be stylistically conscious. But we're just going to talk about one other movie for this episode, and it's like just another movie that we watched. It can be a rewatch. It can be something old that you watched for the first time. It can be something that came out this year that you just caught for the first time. Because that's probably what I'm going to lean into is what I watched this year. But yes, give me something that you watched recently, Kyle.
I talked about it a little bit on Current Gen, so I won't talk about it too long here. But I've been talking about I've been threatening to watch this movie for a while now. Donnie Yen's Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And man, this movie's great. Like it has got a very tried and true, seen it before, like cop story where Donnie Yen's a cop that likes to break the rules but gets the job done, and his wily partners on the inside, but like his facade gets caught and like everything gets complicated and a lot of people end up getting hurt and yada 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 yada. Whatever. We're here to watch Donnie Yen punch and kick people 8 times before both of his feet hit the ground again. That's what we're here for.
Right.
And yeah, you get that in a big way. He fights some some pretty good fights in this one, but the last fight is considered one of the greatest one-on-one martial arts sequences like in all of cinema. Oh, cool. And like it delivers, man. It is such a good fight. It's crazy. And there's some good like shootout scenes too, but like it's more of it's not like, it's and kind of in that way, it's kind of like The Raid where you kind of get a little bit of shooting, get a little bit of kung fu, but like,
gotcha.
But yeah, no, this is not as like crazy and gory as The Raid, it's a little more, Donnie Yen, if you've seen a Donnie Yen movie, that's kind of what you're getting here.
Yeah.
He made 1,000 of these movies, guys. They're all kind of similar. It's just about what kind of stunts he wants to do in that movie. And he does some really cool ones here. And I just like the choreography quite a bit. It's just really good, man. And I like that, like, sometimes when you're watching a martial arts movie, like, the story is just kind of like whatever. The fact that they picked something familiar, I guess, made it easier for me to like care about what was going on here. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh yeah, these are a remix of ingredients I've seen before. And yeah, it was good enough, man. I think it's a totally worth seeing. I think it's on Amazon Prime. I could be wrong about that, but like that's a really, really, really fun movie. Awesome. It's a quick watch. It's like 80 minutes.
Those are the best.
So yeah, you can get it. You can get in and get out real quick with this one.
You can watch it free with ads on Amazon's free plan. That's really cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I highly recommend it. Yeah. It's a good one if you really want to. If like fight choreography is kind of like your jam. So.
This is by the director that did all the Ip Man movies.
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did all 4 of them. Wilson Yip.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, I didn't know that. Now that you mention it, there are some the way that he composes his fight sequences are very similar to Yip Man.
Yep. Man.
Which, by the way, all 4 of those movies are to varying degrees of
so
great.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw the 4th in a theater.
I liked 4 a lot. 3 was goofy. It had Mike Tyson in it, but like it was still fun.
Yeah.
You know, they introduce a new guy, and you're like, this guy's gonna really be something, and he is. He spins off. I think he spins off into his own movie. It's super good. Yeah, it's good stuff. I like that series a lot. I like this director a lot.
Scott Adkins was the guy in 4. Yeah,
Scott Adkins was like he's like a Marine,
up, bro.
Yeah,
he
Marine
was like,
American military bad guy. It was so good. Yeah,
so ridiculous. I loved it.
Scenery all movie.
Oh my god,
Scott Adkins is the best.
Yeah, like, he's so fun.
He is so like
him in a fat suit and John Wick 4 is just insane.
We slept on him, or not you and me specifically, but the world slept on him his entire career. And maybe he never wanted to be more than like a B movie stunt actor. Like maybe he's totally happy with his career. I know Michael Jai White is. Like whenever you go, like people have asked him, like, what do you wish you were more famous? He's like, I love exactly where I'm at. You know, like I'm getting to do the stuff I want to do. I get to stay in shape. I get to choreograph my own fight scenes. I like where I'm at.
And he gets to still go to like those Comic-Con things and feel like he's, you know,
he's the man, dude. Yeah, Michael Jai White is the man, dude.
He's
like
cool.
these are like stunt actors that are like, you know, the best in the biz, even though they didn't make that crossover, besides I guess Spawn, you know, they didn't make that crossover into mainstream movies, you know.
And he got to be got to work with Heath Ledger in one of his final roles. It's got to be something really cool that he values. Like,
that's a big movie to be in. I know he's not in it for very long,
but the cloud. Yeah, it's such a great role.
I like that. I like Michael Jai White and Scott Adkins a lot. Yeah, and I like this movie a lot. Definitely go see this flick. Yeah, there's a lot of familiar faces where you're like, yeah, I know that guy. You know, you may not know. I
see on the cast list the key maker, or not the key maker. I'm sorry, Seraph is in this movie.
Yes,
Colin Chu. Yeah,
Colin Chu. He's a very, 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 you know, at this time, extremely. I mean, this is like post Matrix, but like very famous kung fu, you know, actor over there, Chinese Hong Kong cinema actor over there. So,
and I recognize one of the guy who played Wilson. I recognize him from other things. I don't know. He's a Hong Kong actor, Chinese actor. I don't.
I
feel like he's been in American stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. But I can't. I'm looking through his filmography. Like, I feel like I just saw him recently. What the hell was he in that I just saw him in? I hate that feeling.
Yeah. I again, if you like stunt choreography, if you like kung fu, if you like martial arts movies and stuff like that, you know, it is gonna scratch that itch in a big way. So it's a nice awesome checkbox. Oh, yeah, I saw Flashpoint. It's very famous, you know, so you can get that off your list.
I've got to pick a movie. I listed like 4, so I'm gonna pick one.
Pick one.
I'm gonna pick one. That's right. We're not doing pick 5 this week. Sorry, guys. Or the box office thing, because with these episodes tend to come out later anyway. So it's like, what's the point?
And also, like, no one's going to the movies, so who gives a shit right now?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Everything's coming in under expectations.
Hey, but we got Dune 2 weeks early, right, guys? Everything's okay now. Yeah,
the whole 2 weeks.
Fuck off, WB. You suck.
Just put it out in December, you stupid idiots.
Dude, you're
my god, so freaking dumb. I'll go with. I'll talk about. Gosh, I guess I'll talk about The Holdovers. This is a movie starring Paul Giamatti, and it's directed and written by Alexander Payne. He might be a co-writer, actually. But Alexander Payne he's made a lot of really, really good movies. Oh, no, he didn't write it at all. David Hemmingson did. I've never heard of him before. But Alexander Payne did like Election, Sideways, The Descendants, Nebraska. Sideways is fantastic. He did Downsizing, and that was a misstep to the point where he stepped away for like 3 years. Never didn't do a movie again until this one. Because Downsizing is the one where Matt Damon shrunk himself, and then it turns into like a whole class commentary that's kind of like doesn't fit in the movie that they made. It's really weird, and then it turns into like a climate discussion too. And I'm like, what is going on in this movie?
A lot of messages.
It's just conflicting with what should be like a fun, silly premise. Whatever. Anyway, The Holdovers is, if you watch a trailer of it, it plays like an old 80s, like maybe even late 70s trailer, where it's got the voiceover of like Paul Giamatti plays blah blah blah, and like it's got the film grain, and like it's got it's just the voiceover is just so like refreshing. Like it's got a refreshing type of nostalgia that hasn't like maybe Quentin Tarantino partakes in this version of nostalgia every now and then. But that's how the movie plays too. Like it opens with the old WB logo. I think it's a WB movie. Miramax focus features. But it opens with like a super old logo and like a film grain, and the aspect ratio is like a little smaller. Everything just feels very throwback in the movie. And this movie is like about Paul Giamatti plays like a professor he's like a ancient civilization professor at this boarding school at a high school. And these kids that attend the school usually end up going to like Ivy League schools like Harvard and whatever. And the holdover thing are like the kids that's the term for the kids that stay behind on winter break, because their parents are like they're orphans, or their parents just are shitty and don't answer their phones. But that's when this takes place is the 70s, 1970s specifically, and it like just occurs over one winter break. And Paul Giamatti's character he's like he's just an asshole. Everybody hates him in school, and faculty hates him. The students hate him. He's the type of guy who's like actually, he in every social scenario. And he's also the type of guy that gives out homework and, over winter break. Like, and the students just roll their eyes and they're just like, are you kidding me? And he's a harsh grader, gives everybody D's and F's, including kids that have parents that are big donors for the school. He doesn't give a shit. He's like F's, D's, and that's when he gets in trouble with faculty and his bosses and stuff. But anyway, so it's kind of like a very formula. It's a really good version of a movie you've probably seen before. Okay. That I can't think of an example that's jumping out of the forefront of my brain, but the formula feels very familiar. Where he's kind of a hardened teacher, and then one of these kids stays behind, who's actually a very smart kid and graded very well. That's one of the only twists of the movie is like, oh, it's not like a problem child, that forces Paul Giamatti to warm up to him. It's a really smart kid who's he's got a tough time at home and stuff like that. But it takes place over this 2-week period. And of course, the dynamic and the relationship between the student teacher, it feels like something you've seen before. It's just everything about it that's great is like in the performances and the script. Like some of the lines that they exchange back and forth is just so funny. And I'm like, who thought of that? Like it's highly intellectual type of writing where he's pointing out ancient civilization facts in social conversations, and I'm like, you had to do a deep dive to get that accuracy. Like there's no way a nerd didn't write this script. And then the lead woman in it is Divine Joy Randolph. She was in Dolomite is my name. Oh, nice. Only Murders in the Building. She plays the cop. She plays the detective.
Oh, I like her. Yeah,
she's awesome, and she is incredible in this. She is probably going to get nominated for an Oscar. She plays a kitchen staff member that stays behind with the kids, or with the staff and the kids that stay behind during winter break. She's the only kitchen staff member that's like making food for everybody. But she's got her own, grief that she's working through, involving her son, and like, I don't know. It's the dynamic between the main three. Those are like the main three people in the cast, and the dynamic between them is just freaking fantastic, man. I should just send you a trailer, and you'll be like, "Oh, this movie feels like comfort food," and it does. Yeah, it really does.
Sounds like execution's good though, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and it's I just did my early Oscar Best Picture predictions the other day, and the current odds have this one pretty high. Like Oppenheimer. Oh, wow. Killers of the Flower Moon are like the front runners. Like one of those two is going to win Best Picture this year, no question. Yeah, I don't care what else is coming out in December.
I can watch Killers this week. It's Friday, right? It comes out.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. I didn't know that it comes out this soon. Awesome.
I thought so. Wasn't it? No,
I haven't been paying attention. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay.
But this one's up there. Like this is like 4th or 5th in terms of like what's going to get nominated, and this is up there. So it's being received really well, and I think that's why is like it's a comfort food type of movie that everybody can watch and be like take something from and enjoy. And it feels good to watch. It's not necessarily that it's like one of the best movies you've ever seen in your life. It's just the fact that it's universal and everybody's going to like it. But Alexander Payne's kind of being a dip about it in interviews. He kind of like criticized people that were like, this is a feel good like throwback movie, and he's like, it's not feel good. I'm like, yeah, it is, bro. You made a Christmas movie during Christmas. And it released at Christmas time. It's a feel good movie. I don't know how to tell you that.
Right.
But it's really good. Highly recommend it. Literally everybody would I think like this movie on some level.
Cool.
But yeah, that's all we got for this week. Kyle talked about Flashpoint, starring Donnie Yen, from like right before Ip Man came out. That movie came out.
Oh, was it before Ip Man? For whatever reason, I
Yeah.
thought it was like in the middle of it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at Wiki, and it was like the movie right before they jumped into all the Ip Man movies.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
that's really cool. And then I talked about the holdovers just now, and yeah, just go watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, especially if you're a fan of that series. And if you were on the fence about it, don't be anymore. It's awesome. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, stay tuned for next week where we're going to talk about The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender, and directed by
little indie guy named David Fincher. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
New on the scene.
I really, really hope he hits it big soon.
Yeah.
He's been struggling for so long.
Well, right young age of 60. I'm sure his career is going to take off anytime now.
But thanks for tuning in to this episode of Current Cinema. And, just be sure to catch us on the Current Gen podcast, too. And if you're subscribed to us on Spotify, go find the Current Gen podcast YouTube feed, because we got video of this up there on that channel as well as other clips and good stuff on there. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.